Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast, where we turn conversation into application. I am your host, Leon Reed Jones, and today with me, I got my guy, a very motivated, swaggy dude, man. I met him in Midnight Golf, man. He just captured the room, man. It was always focused, always stay grinding, man, and stay focused with everything that he did. I got none other than Mr. Duffy himself, my guy Dre. What's going on, my guy?
What's the deal, my baby? What's up?
Hey, man, what up now? Good to see you, man.
Likewise, appreciate that, man. Good
yes, sir. How you been, bro? What's new?
Man, well, one, appreciate you for having me on.
For sure.
Second, I'm blessed. I'm feeling great in my Duffy as always. Number one location to be at this time of the year, any time of the year. And it's a lot of new things, actually. A lot of growth from the last time we talked, from the last time we had a conversation about what was going on. And I'm looking forward to jump into some of those things, whether that be work, business, personal life, social life, all of that, spiritual. Every avenue I've really been hitting on in this new season of my life. So I'm excited to share some of
man.
everything.
I had to get you on the podcast, man. I see you doing a lot of dope stuff, man, pulling up to a lot of, different things, supporting different businesses. And just with the stuff that I see you do, man, it's definitely inspiring just to see like how you and your brand is like taking off and, impacting the people in your community, bro. Like,
appreciate that.
Like,
man.
it's just dope to see, man, like how much you care about your people and how much you care about being successful and like just being an example for people, man. So definitely glad to have you on, man. So without further ado, man, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about it. Who is Dre? For those who don't know, who is Dre? If you had to really summarize who you are, who is Dre?
So I like to use analogies. I love storytelling. I love being able to paint a picture for somebody.
Yeah.
Because I'm a man of God, first of all. That's one thing you got to know. I stand on three major principles, which are faith, charisma, and impact. So in order to understand who Dre is, you have to know the values and what I stand on. And my faith is honestly, that's the bulk of it.
Yes, sir.
That's everything in all things. And then take that on down to my charisma, right? Like, charisma is when you go into a room and you flick a light switch. Yeah. It illuminates that room, right?
Facts.
I'm the walking light and I'm controlling the switch.
Yeah, I feel that.
So that's the best way for me to describe my charisma. I can walk in any room and turn the switch on or off, but you know that a light just walked in.
Yeah, for sure. I'll rock with it, bro.
My last thing would be impact. And that's like the community aspect of my legacy that I want to leave behind. And that's always what I strive to do. And so to answer like your question, Dre is a hardworking, God-fearing, tenacious, disciplined, focused, like well-driven person.
For sure.
And I've always been the person to figure out that I'm different. Yeah. And different in a sense of I don't want to do everything that everybody else is doing.
Facts.
Because I see that the mistakes that y'all making are repetitive. Yeah. There isn't some type of innovation. There isn't something different. There isn't something to say like, okay, let me go against the grain and set a new standard. And that's Dre, that's Duffy for real. And
for sure.
It's almost similar to how you have Jay-Z, you have Sean Carter. Yeah. On one of my favorite tracks by Jay-Z, it's called Bam. The first opening line, he says, F all that Sean Carter shit, nigga, it's Hove.
Right.
So sometimes I feel like that in terms of like, no, you're not about to get Dre, you about to get Duffy. Yeah, for sure. So that's been a part of my brand and part of like the buildup of who I am as a person. So I would say like that's describes like who I am, a man of faith, a man of charisma, and a man of impact. Yeah.
And just to kind of expound on that, bro, like where did all of that come from? Like you obviously said the faith comes from you being God-fearing But where is the tenacious, mindset and, the charisma and the impact? Where did that come from? Like, how did that come about?
So I definitely have to give thanks to my parents, 100%, because that's really who it was instilled from.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad both are educators in their background. They both do a degree, both have their master's and undergraduate from Fair State. Hey. That's where they met. So my upbringing was always the church, and then the classroom, and then like sports. Those were like my main 3 avenues growing up. And that kind of set the foundation for who I am like now. And I owe a lot of credit to my mentors, my family, my parents. And it's a long list because everybody has sowed a seed in me.
Yeah.
And I never want to discredit the people who have been a part of my journey, because I've literally taken every experience that I've been blessed with, and I've taken pieces of that to add value to what I want in my future.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for people to recognize, is that your life has had so many moments that you will look over and won't even recognize that that was the spark that you needed to get to that next level.
Exactly.
But it all boils down to just my upbringing, like my parents, my family. And then part of it was just seeing that what was going on, not only in the city of Detroit, or the state of Michigan, but just the world.
Yeah.
I saw like a shift in how people were thinking, how people were doing things, how people were moving. I was in elementary, middle school when I told myself, like, man, I want to make my own money.
Yeah.
I had business cards. My dad would tell you, like, in elementary, middle school, I took out some color construction paper, typed up some business cards, wrote my name on them, and laminated them, and I passed them around like the neighborhood. And I started like I think I call like the fall leaf pickup or winter pickup or something like that, where I would rake your leaves, shovel your snow. So at an early age, I just saw that, all right, I just need some money. I just saw my dad, how he worked. I saw my mom, how she worked. And then growing up, if your mom is the teacher at the school that you attend to, it's not a lot of trouble you should be getting into.
No, for sure.
Being in those environments, you always knew, like, okay, I got to keep my head on straight. But it's like, man, I need some money. And that was like the spark of like seeing my mom, my dad hustle and grind and provide. That sparked in me and was like, you know what, I want to figure out how I can, do things on my own. And then as I got older, I got more wise, I got more intentional, and I just started absorbing more knowledge.
Yeah.
So over time, it was just through like my parents, my experiences, and just me having a knack for learning. Like, I just love reading, I love books, I love knowledge. So you fast forward things from when I was born up until now being 25, just all of that just continuously rolled over.
For sure, man. And like you hear people say all the time, it takes a village to raise a child, man. And like you said, sometimes we get so caught up in our own stuff that we, kind of blow over or miss out on, man, moms gave me this game, or, pops gave me these set of values, and I see it moving in my life today. I tell people, all the time, like, my parents, I always give credit. And it's so funny, bro, like, when you young, like, we still young, granted, but like, when you a little kid, you think your parents don't know nothing. They've been on this earth longer than you. But I heard it this morning when I was listening to a podcast, like, he was saying, man, all this stuff, I knew all this stuff from my parents telling me, or like different people in my village telling me. But it wasn't until, I got on my own and actually had to use this stuff, you feel me, that I saw, like, man, this actually works. This actually is what can propel me forward. And this is actually not just hearsay, or like my parents wasn't just talking to me just to talk my head off. So, man, I love that, bro. Like, I'm big on giving flowers and just always recognizing the people that have come before me and still mentor me and, help me out to this day.
1,000%.
And you mentioned the Duffy, bro. So
yes, sir.
For the people that don't know, what is the Duffy and how did it come about, bro?
Absolutely. I love talking about this story because people ask me quite often. Yeah. And it started precisely in 2017. I was a sophomore at Michigan State University. And I noticed that around this time, a lot of people, and we still use it to this day, like, oh, I'm in my bag, or he in his bag. Yeah. And then I was like, I like that. But there's a different type of bag that I like to associate myself with. I'm saying I'm in my Duffy. Yeah. I'm going to specify the type of bag that I'm in, because I wanted to stand out. I always been a standout person. And around this time in college, my standard attire was professional dress.
Yeah.
Anybody at Michigan State will tell you, if you caught me on campus, I'm in a suit. I'm in something of a tie, a vest, a polo. I always made sure that I looked like the person who I aspired to be or who I wanted you to address me as.
For sure.
And I was big on my brand. Until this day, that's some of the things that I stand on. So when I started building the brand, I was like, okay, I have this Duffy thing. Okay, how do I make it stick? And I always was somebody who's big on motivation.
Yeah.
My partner, he owns his own company called Born Billionaires. My guy Troy is one of my best friends, my brother. He started in his intellectual, his IP, which is Good Morning Hustlers, and he allowed me to come in and partner with him on the messaging platform. So I started with Good Morning Hustlers being a way for me to motivate people. We did that all the way through our high school up until now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm already inspiring people. Let me do something for my own self. And I said, okay, say, hey, get in your bag, get in your Duffy.
Right.
And I was like, Duffy, that it has a different type of connotation because one, now that and I started diving deeper into it as I began to build a brand. When you hear the word Duffy, what stands out to you as you hear it? Like in terms of like just how it sounds, like what sticks out?
I would say for me, when I hear Duffy, I think of the duffel bag.
Exactly. You think of the duffel bag.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about the brand, I'm like, I think of the duffel bag too. Or like, if I don't do nothing, I'm a ball. They calling all day like the flag on the wall.
Right.
So come and get your money, a little duffel bag, boy. So I started to play on the culture as well as, okay, what does it mean? And really the Duffy is essentially you always betting big on yourself.
Yeah.
That is the Duffy.
For sure.
I'm Mr. Duffy because I am the person who not only is standing on that, but I'm the creator of that movement of always bet big on yourself.
Yeah.
And that is our motto. That's our mission. That is what we want to push. So Duffy Season, which is the actual brand, that is our way to curate the risk takers in our community, the people who are actually hustling, the people who are actually doing it. So when you say the phrase, I'm in my Duffy, that means you're owning a sense of where you're at in your current life in that space, and it's a moment of elevation. It's a moment of pride. It's a moment of accomplishment. It's a moment of self-awareness that, hey, I'm aware of where I'm at right now, and I'm grateful for it because I have everything I need to be successful. And being in your Duffy is really in your bag already, but it's an elevated form now. Yeah. Like I'm in my Duffy. Like it sound like you know what I'm saying? It's like when I say I'm in my Duffy, I don't want you to think airport. I don't want you to think nice, LV. I want you to think Carhartt. Yeah. I want you to think, that's the type of Duffy I'm in. I was like, I'm a worker. I'm a hustler. I'm somebody who's going to get it by any means necessary. And I think that a lot of people can empathize with that, whether you're an entrepreneur, a content creator, a real estate agent, or somebody who works for inside of a company. Everybody has something inside of them that's purposeful, and I feel as though that is your Duffy. And the moment that you decide to get inside your purpose is the moment you identify, oh, I'm in my Duffy. And that's the messaging behind the brand. Is always bet big on yourself, because the moment that you begin to realize that everything that your life is going to be was already inside of you, it's that moment that you really start living your purpose and you really start going after the things that that you were destined to do. And that's the Duffy, and that's Duffy season. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, man. And has there been a time where you haven't felt like you've been in your Duffy? And what was that like? Like what was that experience like?
Man, that experience was very recent, actually, to be transparent with you. And I would say this past year, I had those moments, and it's good to be transparent and authentic with that, because sometimes a lot of people shy away from the feeling of, oh, I don't feel like I'm in that zone. Because there's been plenty of times where all of our mentors or the people who were inspired by that, they felt like, man, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this right? Am I like in the space I should be in? And it was a moment of doubt. I definitely had those moments, and it occurred because I was not my best self. And growing as a man and as a person, I realized that a lot of my success was going to be dictated off of what I was feeding myself spiritually, mentally. Was I loving myself? Was I actually being authentic to me? Because that translates into how I'm treating other people. I've made so many mistakes throughout like my journey. I've made business mistakes. I've had things that have failed when it comes to investments. I've had people invest in my company and then the play didn't go through. Mm-hmm. So now I'm held responsible for not only the investment, but also making sure that people understand that, yeah, this is business. And at the same time, I'm going to take that L. That's not your fault because you saw something in me. And because the execution didn't go, I have to take that. Being a business owner, people don't talk about the L that you have to take and stand on.
Yeah.
And that also goes into me not being in the right headspace mentally, detaching myself away from family and friends and loved ones, and then just waking up, grind. It's like, yes, it's good to have your hustle intact, but if you're not taking care of your mind, if you're not taking care of your body, your spirit, if you're not like actually taking time to like heal, everything else is going to be turmoil.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So this past year, I really had to take a step back and assess myself. And I took like a social media hiatus, if you will, from like August 2022 to about up until like this past year, like almost like a year. Like from August 2022 to about this year.
Yeah.
I didn't really post that much. And it was because one, I needed a break to really just figure out what's going on with my life and what is the Duffy, and like not only what is the Duffy, but what does Dre want as an Andre? What do you want your life to look like? Because I felt like the things that I was doing was because I had bad habits,
for sure.
And I wasn't associating myself with the right people in terms of the environments that I want to be in, and that's on me. I think a lot of times when people talk about themselves and they talk about their journey, it's important to identify those moments in your life where you feel like, am I doing what I think I need to be doing for the best?
Yeah.
Like sometimes we don't work for our best. We work in times of desperation or survival.
Yeah.
And I think that when you operate in those things, you may not be making like the best logical decision for the future. You just think about in that moment, like, because I need to get out of this moment. But it's okay, after you get out of that moment, you're going to have another part to address.
Yeah.
It's that continual habit of having things to address. And so for me, that moment of feeling like I not my Duffy was, I had too much on my plate. I didn't know what to focus on.
Yeah.
And so fast forward to now, what has changed is having a system of routines, having a better pipeline of people who I actually communicate my problems with or things that I need help with. And then also knowing when to say no. People say yes, man. Knowing when to say no is so important because I'm quick to just help everybody, and then by the time I look up, I ain't got nothing to do for myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I'm learning how to get better with, is learning how to say no. Because learning how to say no not only shows your growth, but it also shows your level of self-awareness, because you are aware that you have a cap. There's a cap space of how much you're willing to give out.
Yeah.
Let's say if you represent 100%, and you got 6 people who ask you for something, that's 60% of your time now. So that other 40, if you know that you need that other 40, everything else after that is a no.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to be able to you have to replenish yourself, and you have to continue to make sure that you're full in order to be of service to everybody else. So just learning how to actually cater to myself, my needs first, before going out and trying to help other people do other things for other people is very important, because I'm no good to others if I'm not my best self.
Yeah.
I can't help you be in your Duffy if I ain't even in my Duffy yet.
Right.
Or if I'm not in my Duffy, you know what I'm saying? So that's been a journey.
Yeah, man. Like you said a lot of things that I agree with. The biggest thing is, taking a step back, because like they say, you're too close to the frame. A lot of times you can't really see the big picture, you know what I'm saying? And, I had a similar experience myself, man. And, these last few months, I would probably say August up until now, just kind of just reassessing things. And I think when you do what you said, say no, you kind of see where people at because they so used to the Dre, yo man, I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna do this, or yeah, bro, I got you with this. I'm gonna send you the money. I'm gonna Apple Pay you. I'm gonna Zelle you. I'm gonna do this, or it don't even necessarily got to be monetary. It's just like I'm always doing. But when you kind of see like, man, this is kind of messing with me. Like this is messing with my mental. This is messing with my goals. And I think when you got it makes it simpler when you got people around that actually understand like this is needed. I do have to take a step back because if I don't, then I'm no good, not just for you, but more importantly, I'm no good for myself.
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of times we don't really understand that. Like you said, you so much in grind mode, which is amazing, but like all that, like it trumps everything else because, you know, I'm in grind mode, but have I checked on how I'm doing mentally? Am I checking on like the other things that I need to, you know, deem important, like family,
yes.
you know, friends, all these different things. And it goes back to, you know, what I was saying before, commenting on what you said about, you know, saying no. You kind of see who really, you know, cares and who really rocks with you when you say, no, I'm going to go this way. Or like, no, I was doing this, but I think I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And, you know, time reveals all, man. Like, and it's so crazy just like how different things and phases, and I call them transitions in your life, you kind of see like you got to be willing to say, hey man, this is another transition and I have to be willing to move forward, because if not, I won't be my best self. I won't get to the, you know, next level, so to speak, and whatever that looks like for you or for me or anybody out there. You know, a lot of times it's hard because, you know, you grow up with people, you've been in a certain place, because it don't necessarily always have to be a bond breaking between you and another individual. But sometimes it's like, yo, I've been comfortable in this spot for so long. Like I've been at this job for so long and it's done so many things for me. Like, do I really need to quit and move forward, or do I need to stay here? Like it's a, you know, it can be a battle of tug of war, you know what I'm saying? And so that's important, man. I agree. Like when you I agree that, you know, we all need to take a step back, you know, every once in a while, because like you said, people do things out of desperation. And, you know, sometimes that's cool, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes that may be all you have. But like you said, there's always going to be another moment. Like, and is that the go-to? Like, is desperation always the go-to? Because a lot of times people make, you know, temporary decisions that have lifetime effects. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, we got to be, you know, conscious and aware that, you know, yeah, maybe once in a while I did this out of desperation, but let's not make that the default response or the default like choice. Because at some point or another, you're going to face another mountain. It may not be the one that you face in 2023, but it's going to be another mountain. So I love that, bro. And, you know, moving forward, I want to ask, because you kind of said it a little bit at the beginning about how it's Jay-Z and then you got Hove. So if any, is there any difference from Dre and Mr. Duffy?
Yes, I do. I do think there is a difference between the two, although I am both. Like I'm always, you know, I'm always Andre. You're always gonna get Andre.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to Mr. Duffy is an amplified version of my hustle and my impact. Yeah. And like my charisma. It's an amplified version of that. It really hones in on my brand. And I think that's important because everybody needs to have the story they want to tell. And I tell my story through being as Mr. Duffy because it allows me to unpack what's in my Duffy. So for me, when I introduce myself, I may say like, oh yeah, I may say like, what up though? You know, how you doing? I'm Mr. Duffy or I'm Duffy. Yeah. But you still get Andre, like you still meeting that person. It's just the like that flavor that I'm giving you and the way I'm packaging it, it's a story being told. Yeah. And I think the difference is Duffy is my brand. That's the consultant. That's the hustle. That's the drive. That's the person that's helping curate what's going on in the community. Right. That's that Detroit player. That's Duffy. You know what I'm saying? And when I think of like Dre or Andre or, you know, that person that made me, that is the same person, but that's more like my family, my roots and like the true vulnerability of what makes me me. And I think that when you combine the two, you get the full aspect of what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like I'm playing two different roles. It's more so like I decided to jump into that character, if you will. And I think everybody has that within them. And it comes out at different times. I'm just able to put a stamp on it to where it's like, no, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm branded in a certain way because it's a story that I'm telling. And I think that it's the same way, like how we bring up the analogy with, Jay-Z and Sean Carter. It's the same thing because, at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Sean Carter, we wouldn't have Jay-Z.
Right.
And so
for sure,
it's like, if it wasn't for me really channeling who Andre was or who Andre is, I wouldn't have been able to identify like Mr. Duffy. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's kind of like the good way to like put it.
Yeah, man. Because you see, like we brought up, Jay-Z, Hove. Mm-hmm.
It's like Sean Combs and P. Diddy. It's the same person, but it's just like Diddy.
Yeah,
like, that's the that's the bop. That's the bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and like Sean Combs, that's the father. That's the the man of the house. That's that loving spirit. So it's kind of like everybody has a way that they want to personify something, and that's just my way of doing it. Yeah, man. To bring up other examples, one I heard is, you got Magic Johnson, then you got Irvin Johnson. He says Irvin Johnson is, a fun-loving guy. He's cool. He's the life of the party. But Magic is crazy competitor, ready to win. You got Michael Jordan, then you got MJ. You got Kobe, as we got to see. You know what I'm saying? You got the Black Mama, then you got Kobe off the court, fun-loving dude, loving on his family. So saying all of that, how important is that to have? Because you said if y'all not introduced to Dre, y'all don't get Mr. Duffy. So how important is that when you have a brand, when you're trying to launch something to make bigger impact? How important is that? It's extremely important. So I identify myself as a brand consultant. For sure. And what that means is I'm an individual who likes to architect ideas. Yeah. By using strategic tools built for success. And so I know that's like a saucy sentence, but the best way to put that down is you have to have a plan in order to execute. And through that execution is how you scale. Yeah. And so as that person who comes in as the brand consultant, I have to be a brand consultant to myself first. Yeah. And so through breaking that down, it's who are the people that I want to talk to? Who is my target audience? What are the things that I want to portray to them so that way we can have a common ground of understanding, or we're pinpointing certain pain points, right? Yeah. So for me, it's identifying exactly what story do I want to tell and what type of audience should be listening to that story in order for me to get a certain message across, right? Yeah. So for myself, as somebody who values business, who values economic empowerment as well as financial freedom, who values like the Black community and helping build that up, I have to figure out a way of creating a narrative whereas I'm helping solve those problems, but I'm also highlighting the problems in a way that's tangible for you to take in. Yeah. It's easier for you to digest. So for example, if you go like on my page or like any of my social medias or the platforms that I post on, you will directly see that I'm talking about things that are inspirational. I'm talking about things that are motivational. Yeah. I'm talking about how I uplift the community or things I'm doing in the community. I talk about how I'm helping other businesses and brands grow. I talk about projects that I'm involved in, whether those were nonprofit based or for-profit based. But I'm doing all that in a way whereas you understand like, okay, he has a strategy of how he's doing this. It's a consistent flow of, oh, he was at a health event. Oh, then he was, mentoring. And then he talked about his clients. So I'm creating a picture of who exactly I am. Yeah. So through that, you can understand like, okay, I see why they call you Duffy. Like you live, like you in your Duffy for real, because you're showing me a tangible example of what that means and how it looks like to you. So it's the same way like how I talk to my clients is if you're reading a story, that author is painting a picture for you. That's their narrative. Right. So for me, it's like, what narrative do I want for myself and this whole brand of Duffy And through that, I'm able to curate the stories as well as serve as a way to curate other people's stories. Because essentially, that's what Duffy Season is built for. It's a way to help curate the risk takers that are within other communities throughout the world. There's so many people in a Duffy that have yet to be acknowledged or even talked about. That's and facts. The city of Detroit is such a huge place, one of the blackest cities in America, but there's so many people in a Duffy that we don't even know about. And so how are we curating those stories, but also making it to the point where everybody has solutions to so many problems in our life, whether that be through fashion and retail, it be through health, it be through finance, it be through real estate. Yeah. There's so many great things being done. So how do we create a community where we can work together to help amplify those stories and continue to solve the problems within our community? Because at that point, that's what Duffy Season is. Yeah. And that's what being in your Duffy is. And so I feel as though if I can be the person to spark that change, then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to bring everybody to the table so we can all eat.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love that, for sure. And I guess I want to ask, what is going into, as the new year is around the corner, what is one thing that you're looking forward to implementing in the Duffy brand?
That's a great question. One thing that I want to implement within the Duffy brand is inclusivity.
Sure.
I want people to feel as though that they are part of the community. I want people to feel as though that they can say the sentence, I'm in my Duffy, and not feel as though that it's just a statement that I say. I want people to feel like, I want you to embody that statement, to understand what it means, because I believe everybody's in a Duffy. It's just a way of understanding what your Duffy looks like for you.
Yeah.
I know what my Duffy looks like because I've already defined that.
Yeah.
And I can't say what your Duffy looks like for you because you have to let me know what that is before I can say like, oh, Lee and his Duffy. Yeah. If Lee hasn't identified like his, and we've talked about that, so I know like your goals and some of the things that you care about. So I can say, oh no, Lee and his Duffy for sure. So because he's told me the things he's cared about, he told me his aspirations, he's told me the things that he's focused on, whether that be community development, mentorship, access to resources and capital and wealth building. If I see him going towards those things in a manner where he's created habits for himself, he created a plan for himself, he's taking those risks, I can like add to his statement like, no, he is in his Duffy because he identified what the Duffy looks like for him. So going into like the next year is making sure that the brand is inclusive to the community. I want people to understand what the Duffy is and that you are in your Duffy, and let me show you and let me create avenues for you to communicate and network with other people who are in their Duffy too. That's a big goal. So it's the inclusivity as well as like create that community. Yeah. That's very big. And to be quite frank, I'm not gonna be naive to the fact that we live in a very tough economy right now. So I'm trying to make some money with this. For sure. Going into 2024. It sounds. I feel like everybody has that goal, but I want 6 figures. I want 6 figures going. After 2024, and I say that very passionately and with intent because I know that I'm capable of doing it. And I know that it's not something that's a far-fetched goal, because if you set the goal and you know that you have everything within your resource book and your Duffy to do it, then it's not something that's not feasible. You have to put it in your mind and you have to put the plan together. And I think going into the next year, those are like some of my things I focus on. It's like, how can I crack 6 figures through my brands and my business? How can I create a larger community for the things that I'm pushing? How can I solve more problems within my community, but also be looked at as a resource and an expert, so that way we're building and we're growing together. And it's a lift as you climb, mentality with me. So through, as I'm getting older, it's being more intentional about the things that I want. And also having stronger strategies, having systems, being involved in different communities, so that way I can have the right people at the table when I'm putting together these plans. So, excuse me, going into 2024 is definitely looking at, how can I be more inclusive? How can I make sure that the community is being built up? How can I make my way towards, monetization? Because I think that's definitely big, especially with, the world that we in right now.
Yeah, for sure. And seeing how hard you've worked and continue to work, what is some advice or one thing that you would tell somebody that would, propel them or motivate them to get in their Duffy?
Every new level requires a new version of you. Every new level requires a new version of you. And I wanted to bring that up when you were actually talking about, as you like getting older, you saw yourself making certain changes, and that's like what inspired that statement. So bringing that full circle is, my advice is, life is ongoing changes.
For sure.
Things are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to suck sometimes. You're going to have to make sacrifices.
Most definitely.
There's going to be fear involved. There may be some trauma for some people. And as easy as it comes out and as tough as it may sound, it's life.
Yeah.
However, the beauty of that is that there's triumph, there is glory, there is blessings, there is overcoming, there is so many different growth aspects on the other side of fear. And at every new level, you're going to be required to have a different type of focus, a different type of commitment, a different level of consistency and discipline. So every new level is going to be a new version of you. Let that be a testament to your growth and a testament to you not being complacent.
Yeah.
A big part of me and being in my Duffy is realizing that I'm not the man that I was before. And so if you have to re-meet me, that's okay. Because I had to re-meet me. I had to understand that this level of Dre, this level of Duffy is not the same I was a year ago.
Yeah.
I can tell in the way I talk. I can tell in the way I say yes and no to certain things, certain activities, certain rooms I don't want to be in anymore, certain people I may associate with differently because I understand that the relationship was at a certain level and it needed to stay there.
Yeah.
There's certain people that are going to come up with you in your level, in your rise, and there's some people who were going to stay at the level in which you met them, and that's okay. And that is okay. But at every new level, that's a new version of you that's going to be required. And through that and through learning that, everybody is not going to be able to come with you, and it's not your responsibility to take everybody with you.
Yeah.
So as you get to those new levels and you become those new versions of yourself, just understand that you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because continue to do the work and continue to, show up. I think that when you just show up and you just do it, and Nike, pun intended, but Nike 10% on that. I need that copyright.
Facts.
It makes so much better. Just show up.
Yeah.
And when you show up and you kind of cancel out that fear, the blessings come.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and I agree. I think like a big thing that holds people back is not understanding, like what you said, exactly what you said. Like sometimes, a lot of times, man, you're gonna have to rise, and if you want, it goes back to what I'm saying, the transitions, man. You got to understand when this transition come, or when this thing that you prayed for comes, you got to know, man, like it's another level, and you got to be willing to go to that next level. Not saying it in a way where you got to ignore your boundaries and values and morals, but you got to understand that everybody is not meant to go where you're going. Some people may go with you, like you said, or some people may stay where they're at. But don't, like a lot of times I think when you remove yourself from certain people or certain things, people always, like, the norm has been to attach something negative to it, when in reality it's not always that. It can be, but it's not always that. Sometimes it just may require, hey, Dre's going this way, Leon's going this way. You still my dog. I'm still rooting for you in the stands, but it's like we're on two different paths now.
Yep.
And I think when you understand that, when you fully grasp what that means, I think you're going to continue to rise. And not only will you rise you won't have a sense of, oh yeah, I'm rising, but I'm about to, talk down on this guy that used to be my homeboy, because we not as tight no more because of I went to the right and he went to the left, or she went this way and I went that way.
Right.
No, it's still, yo, Dre, stay in your Duffy, bro. I support the brand. Even though I'm over here doing X, Y, and Z, and we can't do this anymore, like, you still my guy and I'm still rooting for you. So I love that, bro. I love that for sure. And now it's game time.
Yeah.
We about to play a game of this or that. So you got to answer these questions.
Okay.
Based on, you know, how you feel about it.
Okay.
So here we go. We got this or that. Drake and Josh, Keenan and Kel, or Sweet Life and Zach and Cody, or why?
Ooh, you came
heavy
crazy.
hitters.
Crazy. Okay, so you said Drake and Josh.
Yep.
Keenan and Kel, and Zach and Cody.
Yep.
Wow. Now, I'm going to say Zach and Cody.
Okay.
And the reason being because I have to be, I'm coming from the standpoint of my generation, what I grew up off of.
For sure.
The reason why I didn't say, because Keenan and Kel was like second choice.
Yeah. Okay.
I necessarily didn't grow up off of that, but when I was younger, I did used to watch it, so I'm hip to the Who Loves Orange Son. You know what I'm saying? Like the Good Burger. Right. Like I'm definitely, but that wasn't like my generation. I was late to the party, but it was almost like I was late to the party, but I still was like, oh snaps! I do remember you showed up there. So that was kind of that's Facts. Like a bit way to do it. And then Drake and Josh was at the bottom of the totem pole because it was just like you got. It was like, y'all cool, but it's like you got Keenan, you do got Keenan killing the room. But yeah, so I'm gonna say Zach Cody because I remember most of those episodes. That's what I grew up off of. Disney Channel, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then they lived in a hotel. It was kind of lit, you know. Being at that time, being a kid, it's like they live in a hotel.
Man, that's the equivalent of living in the Marriott. You feel me?
I swear.
I say for me, I say Drake and Josh only because, even though I'm a super big, huge Disney fan for sure, I definitely would say Drake and Josh just because I don't know, man. I just feel like for me, I feel like I can't even come to like any concrete reason, but I just liked it more. Like it was Sweet Life and Zach and Cody was nice, and like you said, I grew up seeing Keenan and Kel. You feel me? But it wasn't like how I was locked in to Drake and Josh. Like it was like, yeah, I remember episodes and I remember the orange soda with Kel and all of that different stuff. And you know, they would come out and introduce themselves before the episode start. But it was like I'm more in that Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Like you really was more so locked in that. But I would say definitely Drake and Josh, bro. Just like the funny stuff and it's just I'm gonna go Drake and Josh for sure. Now the next one, here we go. Here we go.
I feel like it's gonna ramp up in decision making
for sure. We got Tyler Perry plays or Tyler Perry movies.
Plays. All right, that's no what 100%. The plays hit so harder because they were always one impromptu, if you call it a good one. Yeah. And then it was that authenticness. Well, he brought it because that was really why people fell in love with him. Yeah, it was authentic. It was like the music with the drama, and then you know he would go off script and he would talk to the crowd. Like that, people enjoyed that because it made it more personable. The movies, I feel like over time, and people can agree to disagree, and this is something that a lot of people talk about with Tyler Perry. We do get tired of the narrative that you push on, like the way we see the black woman. Yeah. We do kind of get tired of the way it's like, okay, this is just the trauma of the black community. Yeah. I get that. I understand that. So that's the reason why I will say, even though the movies come from the plays, but the plays just when they rolled out, it was just at that time, the plays. I was like, I'm gonna go plays.
I'm a little bit in between though. Like I've always been a little bit in between. Like it's some plays that I like more than movies, and then it's some movies that I like more than plays. Like for instance, for sure. The movie version of Medea's Family Reunion I like more than the play. Yeah, you know, and they never made Class Reunion, but that's a big one that I like from the plays. Medea's Big Happy Family, I like the movie more so than you know the play. But all in all, Tyler Perry is that guy when it comes to film. So shout out to him.
Definitely deserve the flowers.
Now we got Cat Williams, Kevin Hart, or Bernie Mac. Who's the funniest?
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Here's my ranking. Cat, Bernie, Kev.
I would go same. I'm
gonna go Cat, Bernie, Kev. So Cat is number one for me because when I got hip to Pimp Chronicles, oh my gosh, like that green suit, you already know when he came, when that whole set in the lineup of jokes he had,
bruh.
And then the Pimp Chronicles 2, when when he had the I'm a hustle, that whole 10 to 15 minute intro was gold.
I swear, bro.
Cat Williams got so many like just hits.
For real.
He has scenes in movies where you remember the whole movie. I think it was like School Dance or something where he was locked up and he played the daddy.
Yeah.
And it was like, that is a white baby. That is a Slavic child. That baby has an 850 credit score right now. That is a Viking.
Right.
That's classic Cat.
For sure.
Cat is definitely one of he's already the king of underground comedy, but he's definitely a GOAT in that comedy. Same thing with Bernie.
Facts.
And I put Bernie number 2 because one, he is one of the kings of comedy. Like I'm talking about like
can't forget
original Def Jam. Like,
sure.
kick it. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? I ain't playing with you, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So it's like you gotta respect the people who came first. I just personally put Cat before Bernie. Also, you know, I gotta put in the time frame of when I was watching these comedians.
Exactly.
And so I'm closer to Cat and like his come up than like Bernie. But then Kevin is the youngest of them, so seeing Kevin, don't get me wrong, Kevin is definitely one of the funniest comedians out there.
For sure.
But with these three, you it just kind of makes sense. In my opinion. Like, and that's really how I would go. Yeah,
I'll say definitely the same lineup for sure. Kevin Hart got some bangers now, some stand-up
100%
for sure.
100%.
But I just think like me, like just based on like why I would laugh at something, like I laugh at a lot of things because like how it's said. Like you could say like the craziest thing and the way you say it, it'll be funny. Like you could say like the dumbest thing, but like if you say it a certain way, like Cat Williams, and that's why I was stuck between the two of, you know, Cat Williams and Bernie Mac. Cause you got Bernie Mac with his voice, but then Cat is more high pitched, so that's why I picked, you know, Cat Williams. But then I can't forget about my guy Kevin Hart. But
delivery definitely hit.
No, for sure.
Delivery
Last
matters.
one is Denzel Washington, better actor, Denzel Washington or Will Smith?
I'm going with Denzel.
Denzel. Why Denzel?
I'm going with Denzel because he knows his lane.
Yeah.
And he triples down on it.
Yeah.
Will Smith can give you variety. He can give you Bad Boys. He can give you Hitch.
Yeah.
And then he could turn around and give you Pursuit of Happiness. And I think that range is very, very significant. However, when it comes to Denzel, I think I like Denzel because of the way he studies the craft. Yeah. The way like he gets into element for his role. And then the longevity of his career has been something like, you know, worthwhile to see. And it's just Denzel has range too, but I think when like that level of detail, the level of, you know, excellence that he brings to like his films. Yeah. There hasn't been a film that when Denzel is in it, you like, I don't want to really see that. It's like, no, Denzel is like, it's a staple. Like he is like that craft of acting. Will Smith is a great actor as well. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But when you put them two up, like it's a different level between like that Equalizer, like, you know, that hit. Yeah, and that's a solo production. Yeah. But then you also got to take a look. You got Bad Boys, you know. However, we got Martin to add to that. Yeah. Who got more solo hits? when it comes to the movie Jones, I'm gonna lean more towards Denzel in terms of like solo box office, like in terms of he's the star in that film. I would say I would lean more towards Denzel, and obviously you can fact check me, but I just think across the board, it's people aunties out here, it's people mamas out here who was fangirling over Denzel.
Yeah.
My mom ain't fan of Will Smith. I'm sorry.
Especially not everything that's been going on.
Hey, listen. Prayers to that man.
Man, nah, for sure. Definitely keeping Will lifted before the throne. But nah, I would say I'm in between because I don't think Will could do offenses like Denzel. I love Denzel's delivery, but I don't think you can get an Ali performance out of, Denzel.
100%.
But then you got Malcolm X. But then you got Independence Day. You got Equalizer. You got on Will Smith and you got iRobot. You got Bad Boys. You got
I don't think Will could have did Training Day.
Yeah, I don't either, but I don't think I don't know though. I want to say I think Denzel could do Pursuit of Happiness, but I don't know though. I don't know.
I think Denzel definitely could have did Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, man.
I think he could.
When you look at, for me, when you look at certain movies that both of them have played in, it's like Will could do this, but I don't think Denzel can do that.
Yeah.
Denzel can do this, but I don't think But if I had to pick, I would definitely say, based off the variety, I would say Will.
Okay.
Now, at first, I was a Denzel guy, and Will is one of my favorite actors too, but I just think off the variety. You got Ali, you got Independence Day, you got Pursuit of Happiness, you got what's the movie my brother like a lot? He had the dog in the movie. You got Hancock, you got
you talking about
they're making another one with Michael B. Jordan. I forget what it's called. Man, the name leaves me. You got Bad Boys.
Why am I having a brain fart too?
Man,
because we both know the movie we're talking about. Because it was the people that they had like the humans.
Yeah,
that couldn't come out at night.
Yeah, I can't remember the movie, but you got that one, and just so many other ones.
That's
man,
really crazy. We just drew. We drew a brain.
Man, hold on. Matter of fact, let me look this boy up. That's what I need to do. And I bet you it's gonna come up. Will Smith movies. Oh man. Dang. Legend, right. Legend.
I Am Legend, yeah.
But then you gotta think also too.
Wow, I just drew a brain fart. That's definitely one of his best ones.
Then we can't forget about Men in Black. I don't think Denzel could do a Men in Black. Then he got animated movies. He got one with Tom Holland, Spies in Disguise, and then you got Shark Tales. Denzel ain't doing no animated movies.
Yeah.
But in all, both.
That is true. That is true. That's why I say like Will, like that variety and that range is such a cat. I think. Yeah. I definitely think that he has shown us that. I'm still gonna stand on it though.
Yeah, for sure. Got to.
I gotta stand on that.
Gotta stand on business, like Drewski say. Gotta stand on it.
Standing on business. Standing on business.
But nah, man, it was a pleasure having you for sure for the podcast, and I'm just super big on giving people's flowers while they can smell them, man. So I love what you're doing. Always gonna support you, man. Duffy.
Thank you.
Brand, whatever it is, bro. Like I'm always here, always gonna support. And y'all tap in with my guy, man, Mr. Duffy himself, man.
You know it, man. Follow me
sir.
on y'all can follow me on social media. Instagram is ADNII98, and then Twitter at 2_Dre DRE4. So definitely connect with me on Instagram or Twitter, and then hit me up for a consultation session if you need it. Never gonna not plug the business. I'm getting your Duffy with the Duffy Enterprise. And y'all keep tapping in my boy Lee on the podcast, man. Well, like my boy Pat Bev say, y'all subscribe to the pod, man.
Subscribe to the pod, man. Thank y'all for coming through. We'll see y'all same time, same place. Thank y'all so much, man. Appreciate it.
You know it.